Oh, man. Oh, yeah, Jimmy. So good. Oh, g'day Rugby League fans. Welcome along to the Mad Monday podcast, the ACC's NRL Corner, live from the Export Beer Garden studio. My name is Keezy. Joining me today on the podcast, the one and only Dai Henwood. Dai, big weekend for the Wars, mate. How you feeling a couple of days later?
I'm chilled out now. I had a pretty sad Sunday, actually. I'd bought into the hype that we were favourites. I was vibed up for that game. I was full of Warriors mana, and then it all fell away. First of all, such an enjoyable call with you.
Thanks, mate. Likewise. Bloody
just
enjoyable.
The game fell away, and then we just had the most insane last 7 minutes. And no, I'm just trying to find positives.
Yep.
Now, I'm trying to find positives. I'm behind Webby. I watched his press conference. I think we've got a lot to chat about.
That's right, and I do think there are a lot of positives. We'll get to that shortly. In the meantime, of course, State of Origin 1 is just around the corner. We will be commentating the game live Wednesday night. It'll be myself and Ben Hurley. So if you're keen to watch that, I believe, Adam, Sky Sports 6 for State of Origin. That's correct, Sky Sports 6. So this Wednesday night, chuck it on Sky Sports 6 and you have the ACC's coverage. However, if you're in Auckland and you're keen to actually get on the lash with the ACC crew, the ACC and the TAB are hosting 3 viewing parties in Auckland for the entire State of Origin series. They are going to be at Shapiro's Sports Bar in Auckland from 9:30pm this Wednesday. There'll be drink specials, TAB spot prices. If you're keen to book a table, just text STATE, STATE to 3236. Book yourself a table now. And without further ado, Dai Henwood, let's rip into the Warriors, who unfortunately went down to the Broncos in Napier.
He's definitely going to be pulled off in a minute or so.
I don't know. And by the look of that smile on that trainer, he's going to enjoy pulling him off as well, I think. He's pulled off quite a few guys over the last few weeks.
He loves it. He's pulled Wade Egan off about 4 times, unfortunately, and Chance as well. So
I know, he loves pulling off dummy halves, but he's going to be pulling off a fullback as well. It seems he doesn't like pulling off the bigger boys. Toby Hetherington's had a good game.
He has.
In fact, all of the Broncos who have had to step up really have.
Oh, wow, that's a well-executed try.
Game right there.
Really well-executed try, a little kick through.
And that was the second try of the night to Mariner, and Infanua Blake just making staunch meters again. It's on the 4th. They're
Sirinen!
And Chance, Nickel Klukstad. It's through. Sirinen, the step-in dummy half, because Freddie Lussick got knocked out, and boom, he lays a short ball on a platter for Chance Nickel Klukstad. There's 5.5 minutes left. Is this time to dream again? He goes out wide. We're going left. Pompey, Montoya.
Go, boy! Yes! Oh, watch the hand here of Pompey after the offload. I think he grabs the jersey.
Yeah.
Nah, who cares? Stuff it. It's a win.
No,
Streak. Oh, okay.
Hey, well, at least Pompey is true to form. He's got an error in him.
He does, and he hadn't had an error tonight. He averages 1 a game.
Oh, goodness me.
I hadn't quite absorbed your frenetic squealing over that last bit of commentary. It's phenomenal.
Was that my laughter? I could have sworn that was your laughter. But so that's me just absolutely losing the plot while you're trying to actually describe what happened. So I apologise for that, although listening back, quite entertaining.
Well, what happened is we basically saw a repeat of what had happened 2 minutes earlier. The Warriors just, for some reason, for the first 70 minutes, chose not to exploit the edge of Montoya.
Which doesn't make any sense because we had Pompey out there who's been in good form offensively. And meanwhile, you had Rocco Berry on the right, you know what I mean, who hasn't that experience. So why did we wait so long?
And granted, there's been a lot of heat on Pompey for that stupid jersey pull. Whether or not the guy actually potentially could have got to Montoya.
Oh, he probably would have stopped him. So.
But I don't think you can really write Pompey off for that because he was amazing in the try before. He has shown this has been his best season by far.
Definitely.
He's playing good football. We just have to get rid of those errors. And it didn't come down to that error. In that last 15 minutes, Luke Metcalf got stripped twice. He lost the ball. We had Tom Aled just before halftime. He dropped the ball off the kickoff straight after points. All you want after points is to basically run it up, get up to the 40 or halfway, kick it into the corner. That was an absolute killer. We couldn't convert 5 chances. 4 of them probably could have been scored due to amazing Broncos defence. And there was plenty of standouts in this game. Adam Fanua-Blake. I'm giving him 9 out of 10 again, 264 metres.
Holy cow, 264.
264. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, 241 metres.
Wow.
How good is he collecting the high ball and running it back?
Yeah.
He was running so hard. Chance Nickel-Klukstad, 240 metres, and he was off the park for 15 minutes.
This is what's been so brilliant for one of the standout things obviously this year is that, as I mentioned during the commentary at halftime, even though we were down to the Broncos, I'm not worried. I know we can do it. We've got the firepower to do it. We've got the talent, and we seem to be able to keep a cool head. The other thing I've absolutely loved is our back three: Montoya, Dallin, Chance. They're all so safe defensively. They all run so hard, get through so much work, and I'm so happy to see Dallin. Because, he missed the start of the season with an injury and then he came back and was a bit shaky for a couple of games. But holy cow, he's back to being absolutely safe as houses and just another one of those sort of mould of players that run hard and you do not have to worry about them whatsoever. They are going to do their job regardless. It is fantastic to see. And I think I heard a fact this morning while I was at the gym listening to an NRL podcast, because that's what I do. I think he scored over 100 for the first time in Supercoach in like 2 years.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I suppose the letdown for Warriors fans, which is fair enough, we won every major stat in that game.
We dominated.
We dominated that game. Our completion rate was better. We won the possession. We had more time with the possession. We had more time with the ball.
Oh.
We converted more. The tries were even, 4 apiece. It just felt like a letdown because so many things clicked. Everyone was saying the Broncos without their best players. We missed Tamati Martin, Jazz,
Dylan Walker,
Mitch Barnett, Viliami Vailea. And they are huge outs. Wigan. You put Jazz and Walker in the middle with Tamati Martin, I reckon we blow them off the park.
Absolutely.
I can't wait till we have a fit side, and we're going to need a fit side. We welcome back Wade Egan, Mitch Barnett this round.
Barnett massive.
Dylan Walker next round. Who we are playing, though, is the Dolphins, which is a wee bit of a worry. We go Dolphins, Canberra, Dragons, Souths, and Parramatta. And we have a bye within that as well.
Okay, Raiders and Souths definitely in good form at the moment. Parramatta starting to show a bit of form and stuff, but the worry against a team like the Dolphins is that they seem to just execute everything well and not make any of those mistakes. If you know what I mean, like Wayne's got them humming. They're not superstars in any right. But they do the basics well. They don't sort of defeat themselves as the cliche that people use.
No, like what they'll do is they'll just hover around for a mistake.
That's right.
And then once they get a mistake, they get a try ahead and they shut the game down. Like what I thought, actually, speaking of mistakes, the biggest mistakes that hurt us wasn't Pompey. It was actually Tohu missing some. Tohu missed sitter of a tackle on Adam Reynolds. We mentioned it in the call, and on a watch back, I saw it. Look, we gave Adam Reynolds a lot of space.
It's like we were scared to tackle him, or like we know he's either going to kick it or pass it. We didn't think he'd run it, and he punished us.
We're holding off, and then he just shot through a gap, and Tohu sort of threw an arm out, which is so un-Tohu-like because he's just a stalwart. So we're at 8. Interesting stat. If we had beaten the Broncos, every team in the top 8's on 16 points.
Oh, wow. Damn it.
Because at the moment, the Broncos are on 18 and we're on 14 and everyone else is on 16. So after 12 rounds, what a stat that would have been if every team in the top 8 was on 16 points.
That sums up. Like, this has to be the greatest season of NRL in recent memory, an absolute nightmare for tipping. But imagine 8 teams are in first place. So that is absolutely outrageous. And the fact that the Warriors are in the thick of it as well. And I mean, we're still inside the top 8. A lot of the errors you mentioned, like Tohu missed a couple of big tackles, but it was the young boys. Sifakula with the crucial drop ball. I think he had one other drop ball as well. Or was it Ali? I can't remember. It was Ali, wasn't it? Who dropped the ball before halftime.
Yeah. And Sifakula, I think, will actually be... He gave away a bad penalty as well. I think he'll probably be going back to Cup.
That's right.
For a little bit. We
Metcalf
actually...
too.
Yeah.
The young boys made the mistakes.
Look, I'm not going to judge Metcalf on one game. I thought he ran pretty well. It's always hard slotting into a halves pairing. I thought Johnson actually probably had his quietest game of the season.
If a few of those try assists had landed in the first half, though, you know what I mean?
Completely.
Yeah.
He chipped a beautiful ball over the top for DWZ coming through, who just couldn't quite catch it. I reckon a couple of those land early and we just nail the Broncos.
Absolutely. I've never seen someone leave 80 fantasy/supercoach points out on the park like that. Like, that was absolutely ridiculous at halftime. And that if we had gone in up even by 2 points, the whole game would have shifted. Tohu is called out saying that the streakers even affected the outcome of the game. What do you reckon? Because we were in that studio like, oh, this is just silly now.
I don't think it was the fact that we had streakers.
No.
Or I like how they're calling them pitch invaders because no one's committing to bits.
Just people in there fully dressed and filming themselves.
For TikTok.
Yeah.
It was the timing of it because they happened right when we had momentum.
That's right.
And Tohu said in the press conference that we have momentum. It just lets the other team rest and prepare to defend.
Not guilty, Your Honour.
Yeah, what are you getting the ref's room number, mate? It was a bit embarrassment. I mean, granted, people are blaming Napier, but I think if you look back to Mount Smart, was it the end of last year?
That's right, yeah.
Where it was just streaker, like there was just hundreds of them.
I think this Napier one was, and like they don't show it on the coverage, obviously, but from what I saw on social media, I've never seen a situation where someone would just run on and then someone else would just run on and then 3 people would run on. They'd all just be laughing and jumping over the fences, then running back and then running on again and fall. Like, it was mayhem.
Because I saw one video where I think I counted 9 or 10
all at once
people on the pitch at once.
That's right. So
in Aussie, it's you actually get detained and you get a fine. You get $1,000 fine. In New Zealand, you don't get fined. You just get kicked out of the park for that night.
That's it.
So I think I've got to implement something because it's a shocker. You know, you can't see what's happening when you're watching the actual coverage, but it went on for ages.
It did.
With that last 10 minutes, right when we had momentum. So it's a bit of an embarrassment because I can't blame the streakers. You can't blame the ref. You can't blame Pompey. We just didn't ice those big moments. Webby gave a great press conference, but he looked super frustrated.
That was the most frustrating game of the season for us. And we have to also give a massive shout out to the Broncos and their sort of scrambling defence under those pressure situations because it was phenomenal.
Oh, Tristan Saylor getting his hand under the ball and holding it like a Fabergé egg.
Yes.
Was one of the best pieces of goal line defence I think I've witnessed.
And how frustrating is it? They've got the likes of Tristan Saylor behind Reece Walsh, and they've also got Mariner on the wing, who turns out is a massive gun. Like, he was an absolute beast on the wing there. And when you think about the fact that the Broncos are losing the likes of Herbie Farnworth, to the Dolphins or whatever, you can see why they let him go. It's like, well, we've obviously got all this talent coming through, so we're sweet as.
Mariner had a great runaway try, but that was a coach killer. A silly error when we're on attack. Montoya drops a bad pass.
Off the shoulder, yeah.
And then a sort of 70-metre try ensues. That just hurts so much. I also struggle a bit with these games travelling around New Zealand. Following the social media before the game, it was awesome. Warriors social media are nailing it. But this felt like such a high mana trip.
Yes.
Like they were going there, massively connecting with the local community. huge haka and waiata before the game. There's so much emotion about this, and I feel this Warriors team actually thrives when we're just at home going about our process and
hard out
in the gym, just nothing too fancy. So it felt like we almost needed 1 week down there to have a massive cultural impact and soak it all in.
Pre-season or
and a
something.
lot of the boys connecting and doing the marae visits and all that. Then we had a real boring week of just back at Mount Smart. Then we went down on the plane the day before or something. I just felt... It almost felt like Brisbane with a team coming off the bye because they look quite fresh and ready to play.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a good point. And to be fair, with the amount of players they lost over the Origin and stuff, and I think that is the thing that kind of annoys me the most. And I know that you're an avid Brisbane hater.
There are teams that I don't care about.
Knights,
Dragons, Knights. And then there are teams I really dislike. The Storm and Brisbane. And I dislike them out of respect.
Yes.
Because they always beat teams I like.
Are the Panthers going that way for you or not yet?
I used to like the Panthers because they were so shithouse. Then they sort of came right and they were all cool. And Manai was telling me how much he loves Luai and all that.
I love Luai.
And then now they're getting a bit like that just because you know those teams that are clinical and they just win.
Yeah.
And that's what I had with Billy Slaters and had with your Darren Lockyers and all that. So, Brisbane.
Yeah. So, and I mean, the thing that pissed me off about them is that they'd had such an easy run early days with the draw this year. 1 game away from home, I think it was, or something, some bullshit like that. Like, it's been absolutely ridiculous. They've had a soft draw as well, and they've been playing really well. And sure, Reece Walsh comes into the equation, our ex, and she's flying high. And for us to, have this matchup where we were the favourites, even though we're missing 2 crucial members of the spine, and Wade Egan and Tamati Martin, you can't forget that. And then
2 big forwards.
Yeah, 2 big forwards as well. So we were missing a lot, but I still felt like we were the favourite. Watching the game, I felt like we were the favourite. If you didn't show me the scoreboard and just showed me highlights, I'd be like, man, we gave them a hiding. You know what I mean? But we just didn't. And so a lot of positives to take away, but also just this whole negative thing that is we didn't seal the deal on it, and that is why it's so frustrating.
One positive, there was a huge moment in that game where I thought this was blowing out to 40, going to be 40 points to 14.
Yep.
And we clawed it back, which is going to be good for our points differential, having this a 4-point game. But we needed to ice that game. And, I mean, thankfully we've got the Dolphins at home. Although
at the Fruit Bowl, Mount Smart.
How's me all wound up on a Sunday looking through the draw going, we don't play at bloody home till the end of July. Then I realised I'd renamed the stadium.
Oh, yes.
Because I was going, bloody Dolphins at Go Media Stadium.
Wherever the hell that
bloody
is.
Go Media Stadium. Then I went, oh, hold on, Go Media Stadium's Mount Smart.
AKA the Fruit Bowl. Okay, so now we do, because you were saying 7 games at home, 7 away, right? Starting with last week.
Yeah.
So still 6 at home. And I know the draw softens up quite nicely for the Warriors. There's a few, Rabbitohs and Raiders who are in good form. But I do think for the run home, we are in good position if we play our cards right, keep our heads cool, get people back, that we should be in a reasonable position.
Yeah, and also, if we want to play finals football, we have to beat teams like the Dolphins.
Yes.
We have to get a win against a South Sydney.
Yes.
Melbourne, a Cronulla, a Penrith, you know?
You're right, yeah.
That's how you win a competition.
Yes.
So I am still, look, I had us finishing 12th this year. I'm still very impressed.
I was 14th.
Yeah, I'm very impressed.
Yes.
I'm very impressed with how we're going. But we do need to jag some wins. The Dolphins, one imagines they'll still be Origin depleted. I doubt anyone's going to be backing up for them on a Saturday at 5 p.m. for the second game of the round.
Well, that's the interesting thing, is it does start to depend on when your team is playing and how crap your record has been without them.
And also we're playing over here, so they'd have to fly over with the team. So that throws another spanner in the works for them backing up. It's not like they...
Yes, true.
And they're playing in Perth, which is about a 22-hour flight from New Zealand.
So the Hammer won't be here then. Neither was it Tom Gilbert? Who else?
Yeah, Tom Gilbert in the forwards, the Hammer.
Do they don't have like Bromwich or Kafusi or any of those guys, eh?
No, that's where they actually got off quite lightly.
Yeah, there are a couple of teams actually not, like, for example, South, who we'll get into shortly.
No, they won't have Kafusi because he's knocked out, what's his face?
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so he's not going to be playing. But that for them to still have all those players, and then South still have Cody Walker, they've still got Campbell Graham, even though he didn't play, but, he still could have played.
He'll be right.
Yeah, and for them to have, like, Damien Cook as well, and just all these players, I'm very lucky to some of these teams.
Souths are also in an interesting position because Blake Taff, who fills in for Latrel, is a first-grade fullback.
He's brilliant.
He's a really good fullback. So they've got this, massive luxury of where you can... Sure, he's not Latrell standards, but being able to slot in a fullback, because they did a run right to the finals when Latrell was not... when
Didn't he make his debut and they were pretty much...
Yeah, because remember, Latrell got that massive ban for not...
smashing Joey's face.
Yeah, for smashing Joey Manu's face in. And then Blake Taff stepped up. But there's a lot to like for the Warriors. I think wrapping up this particular game, we need people back. We need a healthy side. Webster was a bit annoyed at Chance coming off because even though they said it wasn't a head knock, he definitely got a shin to the temple.
Well, the slow-mo was a kick in the head. It was ridiculous.
It was a non-intentional kick, but absolutely. It was a kick in the head. We need players back. I imagine Volkman will come into the halves next week, and it's a shame we're not going to get Walker back until the following week.
One more week, yep.
And I don't know then when Jazz is back.
Yeah, Jazz Tavanga, I'm not sure. It's wasn't it quite a serious? Wasn't it Achilles or something like that?
Yeah, I know Tamati Martin's like round 15. I think Jazz is round 16, 17. So this is why we need to get these wins. So then when we get a full complement of troops back, that's when we go on a hot run into the finals.
Actually, just one last thing on the Warriors, just quickly. We've got to do the old TAB good punt every week. Our good friends at the TAB give us $100 worth of bonus bets to put on whatever we want for the upcoming game. We are taking on the Redcliffe Dolphins at home, as in our home, this Saturday, 5 o'clock. So producer Adam, actually, in all of his wisdom, he's decided to take the reins of the TAB good punt. Adam, you were saying that you think this is paying good odds, $4.33. Why have you chosen to put $100 bonus bets on the Dolphins to score first, but then us to win?
Well, I feel like, if anything, this is the way that we have been winning this season. So I'd say the first few rounds were definitely known to give up an early try.
Yeah.
But obviously, massive money in the side, we're always able to pull it back. So I just feel like at $4.33, we're just trying to make money for our listeners at this point, right? So
yeah.
So we're really trying to help out the team here and give out $100 lots. So what do you think? You think it makes sense?
I think it makes sense. I think it's smart. I can see someone like Isak or one of those gun players testing you, crossing over for a try early on. Have you taken over the reins of this because Mania Stewart's had an absolute shocker and lost a lot of money for us? Is that why you've done it?
Well, the glory about this is that we are always only betting in bonus bets, so... but I guess, yes. At the moment, especially for a few of the shows, he's still making the ones for the agenda, which you can listen to on Thursdays. However, I have had a couple of wins. I got like a $733 win on Champagne Rugby.
Wow.
Picking first teams to score exactly. And I won about another $400. So I'm getting close to the $1,500 mark. Doesn't mean this one's coming in, but we're just trying to make money for our listeners, eh? So
it does make me feel more safe knowing that you're taking over the reins there. It does make sense. So once again, $100 bonus bet. We're putting it on the Dolphins to score first. However, the Wars will win, and that game is 5 o'clock Saturday with ACC commentary on Sky Sport 9. Excited for a hot run. That hot run will be powered by 4 and 20 Pies, the same company that powers the ACC's Mad Monday podcast. Time now, Dai, to move on to the stonker of the round. And And it was an absolute rip snorter with the Raiders beating the Rabbitohs 33 points to 26.
Ilias straightening. Walker getting it on. Tass with space. Now to Johnston. It is a thing of beauty. South Sydney at full tilt. And they have tied this game. 2 tries in 10 minutes. Comes now to White. The double punt. He's threatening. Then gets it on. Rapid a 2-on-1. Hopewadi. Raiders are in. Hopewadi hat trick. And Raiders retake the lead.
Leave it.
But Wolford puts it down. Hang on. Penalty. A kickable penalty. Not his cleanest strike, but good enough. And on the last. Oh, he got it. A field goal to finish.
This game was an absolute rip snorter. I saved it for the morning after the wires. I know it was Saturday night, but I woke up, made my coffee, sat down, and was thoroughly entertained for 80 straight minutes. The Raiders seem to have come alive. They are massively hot at the moment. However, the Rabbitohs, I still felt like that whole game, it was a bit like the Warriors-Broncos. I felt like the Rabbitohs were in front, even though they weren't, and they should have won. And for them to have, as I say, Damien Cook, Cody Walker, the likes of, and Alex Johnson on the wing. They've got Keon Kolomatangi came back as well. What a team.
I really like Keon Kolomatangi.
Oh, yeah.
I love how he plays the game. He's so hard out. I was the same as you. I was watching it. For the regular listeners know my son's a big South supporter. They've actually jumped the Roosters as my second team this year. I love it how second team can float a bit,
yeah.
And it goes with who you're vibing that year.
They're exciting to watch is why. They're right. I like how all the beginning of the season, the right side was clicking, and now they're like, wow, should we fire up the old left side and get Alex Johnson about 30 tries?
They seem to have the most players that should be playing Origin out of any side. And I was the same as you. I was watching it with my son the next morning. I love a next morning watch rather than the
I've started doing that.
Because I from a footy point of view, I actually watch the game closer in the morning for some reason.
And also you can, obviously I like to fast forward halftime and all the ads and stuff, but there's something about sitting down with a coffee and starting your day with 80 minutes of footy that my wife hates and I love.
And I was like, oh, this is a close game, but South are just going to win this. They'll win this. And then the Raiders did it. I don't think Souths were due a couple of losses because they just put on back-to-back wins against all the big teams, when they went on the run beating Brisbane, Penrith and the Storm. Whatever Ricky's doing is working. I'll be intrigued to see next week he's dropped Jared Croker already.
See, but he's dropped them because
he wants to have his 300th game.
That's right, at home, which is the week after, which is interesting.
It's weird because when you're trying to win a premiership, and Jared Croker's he's their old stalwart talisman who seems to have just come right back into form and good Supercoach form, actually.
He came back and then the team started winning again, and so they're going to drop him out. Well, I mean, I get it. Imagine how cool 300 games you celebrate at home. I mean, that's pretty cool. You probably blow the flute or whatever it is they've got there.
Oh, yeah, they love the flute. It's a bit punishing.
But it seems like a massive call to make around something like that, and I get Jared's an absolute club legend, but it just seems like a risky call to make to me.
And I was watching the bloody Matty Johns Sunday night.
Oh, why? Because Corey was on there.
Corey Horsburgh,
who's one of my favourite players now.
Yeah, and they did an amazing... He does look like an AliExpress Bill Burr. They did an amazing comparison, and once you see it, you go, oh my God, he looks like an AliExpress Bill Burr.
The thing I liked about that, and I did watch about 10 minutes of Matty Johns and then turned it off because there's too much laughing for me.
Oh, it's the thing is there's such great footy minds on that show, and I love it when they actually start talking about footy, but then when they just start sort of matily giggling for 10 minutes. And also, Fletcher's little finger stresses me out so much.
I haven't paid attention to it.
On his left hand, his little finger goes at right angles out of his hand.
Okay.
And once you see it, that's all you can look at.
Wow. Okay. So, that's really disturbing. I will look closely at that, and that sort of stuff does freak me out for some reason.
But the Raiders, I reckon, in this game showed they were away from home. This was a Bunnies home game.
Oh, so there was 4 people in the crowd?
It was packed, mate. Except for the all those other seats. What I liked about the Raiders winning, they win away from home, they win during Origin, they jump us on the table. That's the example of how important this is. Yeah. And this is traditionally a time when we Jag wins. So
actually, we were talking as well, teams that have Origin players. Raiders got to keep Papali'i. Horsburgh, who was in the conversation, played amazing. They also had Jack Whiten. So they had like a full, basically a full team. And then they get to keep the likes of, because they're Kiwis, you've got Joey Tapine, who had his best game of the season. I think he played 80 at lock. And Corey Horsburgh, what I was going to say about him on the Matty John show is he's completely different to how I picture him being. Do you remember last year crying, pointing, swearing, red face? And then you chat to him, he's like, it's good, mate. Love my footy. But
he's an archetypal, just hard man, eh?
Yeah, I absolutely love Corey Horsburgh.
But can we just take a moment for Corey Harawira Naira?
Oh, that was scary, wasn't it?
So I haven't actually watched that bit yet. I saw him go down, then I had to look away. Yeah. I don't quite know what happened.
Well, it happened whilst there was, I can't remember exactly, but I think they were doing a conversion they were challenging something. And so everyone was standing around, they were looking, and then all of a sudden it panned around, and from what I saw, he was pretty much already being loaded onto the medical cart. But yeah, he seemed totally fine, because I had watched it on replay. Like an idiot, I opened my phone first thing in the morning. NRL Physio popped up first on my Instagram.
Oh, I've done that so many times. I go,
Yeah, and it's like Corey Harawira had a seizure, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, fortunately, he didn't run the score. But now I'm sitting there watching the whole game, waiting for this horrible thing to happen. But he did release a wee statement video. He seems fine, and hopefully they can figure it out. And
so it wasn't from a malicious tackle or anything, eh? It was just
he put a mean shot on. He had just put a mean shot on like 30 seconds earlier, or had a massive run.
And then he just sort of collapsed with a seizure.
Yeah, and he got up, and it was a classic thing like when you get up too fast and you go a bit blurry. He did that, and then it just went full seizure after that. So it is scary stuff.
I mean, hope he has a good recovery. And, that was a nice little post he put out. He looked pretty onto it, but he was saying scans in it. He is one. I love these dudes, right, who I watch in teams I sort of whatever about, right? Where I go, oh, that's right, you're a Kiwi.
Who's that? Oh, Corey.
Yeah, Corey.
Timoko.
Dylan Brown's another one of them.
Yep.
Where you watch him and go, oh, that's right, you play for us.
Yeah.
Because he hit so hard, man. There was one shot he'd put on someone when he came off the line in defence where he just and also, there's nothing illegal. He's just hit so hard.
Yeah, no, I think for some reason Corey Harawira to me looks like a taller Isaac Luke.
Yeah.
And they play similar, and so if Isaac Luke was a bit bigger, he'd probably hit that hard as well.
And he's just got this look like he's coming out of a rural pub in the 1970s. You know what I mean? He's just got that rural 1970s look, like he's just had a couple of jugs.
Yeah.
And he's just rocking out with his mullet and his moustache.
Kids are in the car waiting. Bloody ripper.
Sitting on the bench seat, eh?
of the Holden wagon there.
Oh, beautiful Holden wagon. Keezy's watched his dad do up, and they're just sitting on the bench seats.
It was always a dream to watch Dad do up a Holden wagon. But Raiders, this is similar to what they did last year. Started slow. Ricky got them in form. Do you see them having high hopes for the rest of the season?
I can't pick the Raiders. I do remember thinking back to about round 3 going, oh, the Raiders are bloody bottom 4 side.
They were terrible.
And then the second Jack Whiten signed with Souths, he's been playing out of his skin.
And he was great the Saturday night too.
Yeah, I can't actually... None of what's happening seems like a fluke either.
No, it looks legit.
They're just playing good football. And they just did what we have to do, knock off a big team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So our next chance is probably either... We're going to beat the Raiders, obviously, soon, but you mentioned Rabbitohs coming up in about 3 games' time. We're going to circle that one. It's probably Rabbitohs without Latrel.
So you know how we've got our run, right, which actually looked quite hard. The Raiders are playing Wests, us, Roosters, Titans, and Dragons. So they've got quite a lot of winnable games there.
The only one that's not winnable is against the Warriors. And then the rest of them
because
are massively...
the Roosters are in shocking form.
Yeah.
The Dragons are shocking. Titans they're playing in Canberra, so they should win that. And Wests, I mean, West have had a couple of great games, but they're
not the wooden spooners anymore, the West Tigers, I don't think. They're starting to sharpen up.
No, but I mean, they're beatable.
Yeah.
So the thing is, for us, it's the Dolphins, Canberra, and the Titans and the Roosters who are sort of vying for those last couple of spots.
Yes. Well, that wraps up the stonker of the round. We will take a quick break here on the Mad Monday podcast. When we come back, we'll be chatting State of Origin. We'll be chatting a few other key points of the round, including Kalen Ponga playing last night and having a massive sort of impact on Supercoach, along with Greg Marju. And also we will have Dai Henwood off the back fence.
Not guilty, Your Honour.
Yeah, what are you getting the ref's room number, mate?
Welcome back to the Mad Monday podcast from the Export Beer Garden studio, sucking on a 4 and 20 traveller pie, cheesesteak, Philly cheesesteak, my favourite flavour, by the way. Dai Henwood and Chris Key still here. And Dai, just another quick talking point before we get to State of Origin. Last night we saw depleted Manly side take on the Newcastle Knights, who got rid of Lachlan Miller, made a big call, moved him out of fullback, put Ponga back there. Once again, the Ponga 5'8 experiment's done. Took a big gamble bringing in Tyson Gamble in the halves there. Do you think that's pretty much how it's going to stick for the Knights going forward?
Well, it should do. Gamble played awesome.
He was awesome.
Ponga looked way more natural and floating around and causing issues. I think he only actually got 18 head knocks in that game as well.
Oh, my God. How stressful is it? The first 5 minutes.
The dude seems to just attract head knocks. He's got such a bizarre tackling technique that he manages to always get a knee or a hip or something to the head.
Not just his tackling, though. And we didn't see it last night, fortunately. He loves to run deeper into the line than anyone else and fall down as he's passing and sort of slide back a bit so his head's perfectly in line with people's shoulders.
Yeah, because he runs low. Then he does that slip, which always means he goes face first into the chest or the shoulder of the attacking player. He was back in form. Once again, like we said about the Warriors, like we said about Souths, I just felt Manly were going to win this game.
Yeah, well, and the way Josh Schuster, shout out, I think he is as talented as, well, he said he's going to be the best player in the world soon. I don't know if that'll be true, but he's got a lot of talent. I just don't think only him is the answer. You need Daly and Tommy Turbo there. But the first half looked fantastic. Second half completely ran out of gas and did nothing.
Yeah, and what killed them was the send-off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which I was a bit dubious about, to be honest. I don't know if that was a send-off, 10 minutes in the bin myself. But Knights sort of found some form. If Manly had their players, they would have won that. Not Jared Croker, Lachlan Croker.
The hooker, yep.
Yeah, he's just a staunch player. He had a couple of great try saves, scored an amazing try. Ruben Garrick played very well.
Ruben Garrick, yeah, he's so solid. Obviously you want him at fullback while Turbo's away, but as long as he's not in the centre. But he is probably him and Alex Johnson are my two guys who are like, why aren't they playing Origin? Oh, that's right, because there's these other wingers. Yeah. But they are literally representative level.
And I was watching it, there were 2 sets running out of trouble where he carried the ball 3 times in each set. He does a lot of work, Ruben Garrick. So
yeah.
No, I quite like Manly. No one seems to, but
I like them. They're a glass cannon, though. And this is what they did a couple of years back, is they didn't do what you said, which is they didn't beat any of the top teams, but they obliterate all the bottom teams. And Tommy gets 4 try assists and 2 tries, and Scucky no-look passes from Schuster, and Olakawatu crashes over, and then they come up against a good side and they get pantsed. And so that's what I feel like this year will start to happen. But when they do click, it is probably one of the best teams to watch in the NRL.
You heard it here, Keezy labelling Manly the glass barbecue of the competition.
Well, not glass barbecue, but that'll have to do. Greg Marju?
Greg Marju, he's just an awesome player to watch. I don't really closely watch the Knights, and that's one of the first games I've really dialed in just on him.
You picked a goodie.
He carried the ball hard out. He scores lots of tries, and he always seems to be in the right place.
And Kalen loves the left side. And so now that he's fullback, I just feel like there's going to be a lot of tries down that left.
Kalen makes things happen. There was an amazing cutout ball he sent to Dominic Young where he just ran into the line, read it, But he was really keen on giving Saab the ball.
Well, didn't he almost get? He obviously gave Saab one intercept,
And then Saab almost got it
Yeah.
like 3 minutes later. Saab seems like such a different player this year.
I hope so.
He's bulked up a bit. He seems to have got a lot of footy knowledge.
Because I hated it. Well, I didn't hate him. I disliked his style of play because he was just tall, fast man. Bad on defence, bad on attack, couldn't bring it out of trouble, you know what I mean? He was just there to finish tries. But now he seems like he's working on those other things.
There was a great moment of Dan Ganane trying to backpedal from racial profiling him as well.
Oh, really?
Where he was going, Saab just looks like an American sprinter? Yeah. An American
that's awkward.
sprinter. And it's like, he just looks like a sprinter, doesn't it? It's just a guy sprinting.
He had
isn't
a
it?
cowboy hat on, American sprinter. Bradman Best, massive hammer in my opinion. Dom Young, going to be a gun next year for the Roosters.
Bradman Best. Dominic Young at the Roosters.
He's going to be amazing.
Oh, my days. Bradman Best is like, feels like he could be one of the best centres of all time, but he's such a hamu.
He's a massive hamu.
Like, the thing is, there's so many chances where, where he just passes too late.
Yeah.
And you go, if you just broke the tackle and passed, it was a guaranteed try.
Or he sucked in 3 defenders and crashed over to score himself and was held up, whereas Marju, who has the bench pressing record for both Newcastle and the Titans, is just standing there wide open next to him like,
I must say, Bradman Best, the walking steroid, they did so well to hold him up, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the shaved ape, as Ben Hurley calls him. Yeah, did a great job. We'll move on now from, by the way, Newcastle won 28 points to 18. Dai Henwood, it's time to chat State of Origin. And another reminder, Wednesday night, Sky Sports 6, myself and Ben Hurley will be calling this game. I'm a Blues fan. You're Blues, right?
I'm Blues.
Hurley and Mania are Queensland, so screw those guys. I personally am freaking out. I think this is one of the worst sort of states I've seen the Blues side in a long time. Just before we started recording, a post came out from NRL Physio saying that Latrel Mitchell is out of State of Origin 1.
I missed this.
He is ruled out with a calf injury. Stephen Crichton's replacing him. No word on severity as yet from the Blues. If it's a minor strain, it'll require 1 to 3 weeks recovery time. So Latrell is out. You've got Latrell out. You've got Tommy Turbo, who's been shaky. You've got Teddy, who's been in the worst form of like the last decade. You've got no Jake Trebojevic. You've got Tavita Pangai
What's
Jr.
happened
starting.
to Jake? Is he injured?
He's not playing. He's not in the side. He's injured, so he's missed. So Tavita Pangai Jr. is starting.
Yeah, I haven't been fully across the
Yeah, and it also sounds
teams.
like
I haven't done my due diligence, but this
Payne
is...
Haas is out too. Is likely out.
Oh, no, I heard Payne Haas is fully in.
Oh, okay, so that's good because we haven't had concrete
he
news
has
on that.
trained.
Okay, good.
He has trained since then. So he's in. Wow, and Queensland have a very settled side.
I know. and
They
this is
have
what's
an
freaky.
amazing forward pack. You got Collins, Hunt, Flegler, Gilbert, Fafita, and Carrigan. That's amazing.
Oh,
Their
Dave
back line:
Fafita.
Cherry Evans, Munster, Tabuai Fido, Holmes, Cobbo and Tuolangi, and Walsh. They're settled.
Very
They're
settled. And I was excited to see Latrell run it straight at Hamiso the whole game, and I was like, he's going to score a double. And then you got Reece Walsh trying to stop him.
We're running one hooker in Epi Coruscant.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're running Hunt to start with Harry Grant coming off the bench.
That is so lethal. And the crazy part about it is my mail is that Hines has been training at hooker. And he's going to play about 20 minutes at hooker, which is bizarre. So this is why I'm freaking out a wee bit, because you got Tavita Pangai Jr. Like, it's just
Hey, Wilderbit, I might left field have gone Matt Burton over Stephen Crichton.
Massively.
In the centres.
Yeah.
Because also
cover.
he gives that other crazy kicking option.
Yes,
of
true.
that insane bomb.
And he's also coming into form. The last sort of month or so, he's been playing really well.
And yeah, I'm dubious about, like, you've got arguably Hunt and Harry Grant, the two best dummy halves, even though Hunt hasn't been playing a lot of dummy half. He is an amazing number 9.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So you've got Hunt and Harry Grant. Harry Grant destroyed New South Wales last series when he came off the bench because he just runs so hard. Pungai Jr. is such a coin toss.
He's like the Bradman Best of the prop world. He could be the best
I really
prop.
worry that they brought him on to fight.
Well, they want that energy, right? That's the only reason you'd have him, right? Surely.
And he has got a massive mistake in him. Playing him, so that's our Haas, right? Personally, I think Haas is probably the best forward on the field for both sides.
Definitely.
In full fitness.
That's right. Second best forward in NRL.
Then
Adam Finnell-Blake.
we've got Young and Frizzell in 10 and 11. And 11 and 12,
Hudson,
sorry.
okay, so
Hudson Young.
debut.
Yeah, and Frizzell, which...
They're not, like, Frizzell especially isn't.
Yeah, I mean, they're good, but
Yeah.
it's not like you're not like Yo at 13. He's the man.
Oh, so Cam Murray off the bench, maybe?
Yeah, so Cam Murray will come off the bench. Bolo and Liam Martin on the bench with
good.
Hines and Uto Ikamanu
See, okay.
as their 19th or 18th.
Because I did hear that it is still iffy as to whether or not Haas is playing, and I hope he is. If he isn't, and we are rolling out Tavita Pungai Jr. and Stefano Utukumanu as our starting forward pack, we're going to get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, because they're a grinding side, that Queensland side as well. Carrigan, Flegler, and Mitchell being out.
Sorry, I'm freaking out a bit over here. Carry on.
This is why I put $50 on Queensland to win the series. because New South Wales are always favourites.
Yeah.
So I got that at $2.90.
And it's going to be Daily Cherry Evans saying, here's another win for the worst ever Queensland side.
Yeah, which they can't say that because that's a really good Queensland side.
Yeah.
So back three, Tedesco had a great game the last game he
Against
played
the Dragons.
before going into camp. I think he's a big game player, right?
He'll be fine. Yeah.
Tedesco, Adokar, To'o, fine.
Sweet.
Crichton's actually had an off season.
Adokar off an injury. He last week was a bit iffy.
He only had one game. He's only had one game back. So we've got Travojevic, dodgy.
Yeah.
Adokar, dodgy.
Teddy's only had one good game this season.
Luai has never had a good game at Origin level.
No, and he's had
he's had an okay game, but he's never.
Yeah.
You've never gone. He's the man.
Just put Hines in. Oh no, but that's why I'm not the coach. Oh, stressful.
So there's worries. There's worries.
I'm freaking out
on Wednesday night. Also, so if they lose this game, right? Suncorp's the second game.
Oh, cool. Put that money on Queensland.
Suncorp's the second game. So New South Wales really need to win this. Otherwise, they've got to win Suncorp then at home.
And the third game's in Napier, right? So that'll be heavily disrupted by streaks. Oh, my God. See, this is what I'm thinking. I've been listening to all the news and looking at the team, and I'm just like, Uppy, who's the man, but unless he's getting good go forward, it'll be like Uppy at the Tigers.
So what I don't understand is, why wouldn't you take a leaf out of Queensland's book? And if you went Uppy and Damien Cook off the bench.
Or the other way around usually, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, but I mean, basically, if you had those two players in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you play Cookie because he's so sturdy.
And defensively, he's very good.
To get that first, hard out 20 minutes out the way.
Yeah.
Then you brought Uppy on because he just, when he's got players running with him, he just creates so much opportunity. Because I feel Hines is either a starting player or he's not in the side.
Who, the Dally M medalist from last year?
Yeah,
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's not a
absolutely.
bench player for me because he's not a utility.
No.
He needs to be in there. I feel
I feel like what's happening with Hines is what happened with him at Melbourne. Hines came in, filled in for Pappy, and then was amazing. And then Pappy came back, and then Hines was sort of relegated. Then he was on the bench for a wee bit. But it's just like, okay, look, Hines is amazing. Put him in your starting side.
Yeah, because Cronulla have just shown, he's awesome.
Yeah, and they've signed him for 10 years.
And why do they even train in camp? All you're going to do is get injured. That's going to hurt.
I think if Payne Haas is ruled out, and I know you're feeling confident, I feel like it's a bit of a coin flip at the moment. I think you put a line through this game.
So what distresses me about Latrel is also in really good form. He's been playing so well for Souths, and he is. Granted, he might not do the work rate and all that of other ones, but he does 2 or 3 game-changing plays.
Latrell would have been the best player on the field in blue.
Yeah, because Latrell,
Easily.
you know how he just casually, full scuck schoolboy styles, catches those balls like above his head with one hand, and then he's the comfy guy. Stephen Crichton won't make any mistakes, but I feel Stephen Crichton's a guy who needs someone else to make the break, and then he finishes it hard.
You know what I've just realised? It's literally Penrith's backline. Uppy throws to Cleary. You got Luai. You've got Stephen Crichton. You've got Brian To'o. You've got Isaiah Yeo in the middle. They're just freaking out and bringing in Penrith players.
Yeah, which didn't work because Cleary or Jerome
And Liam Martin off the bench.
Oh, yeah. Cleary and Jerome Luai haven't actually set the Origin on fire yet.
No.
So,
Adam Reynolds. How about that? Bring Adam Reynolds and Hines in. There's your pairing. That'd win. Oh. Another hot take there. Don't put this on Instagram. Jesus.
let alone the jersey saga. That's so New South Wales to go, let's go a different jersey.
Oh, it's sky blue versus maroon. You don't see the maroons getting like a, light red jersey. It's pretty easy.
But it's so bizarre. Like, what's the win? It's not like, this was the original jersey and we're going back to it. It's always sky blue.
Having said that, I've circled this jersey as another Warriors Swan Dry jersey, as in this jersey was a massive kerfuffle, so buy one. So you can be like, oh, look, I've got the jersey that caused the big kerfuffle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I'm also, I got nothing against Westpac as a bank, but...
Oh, the logos.
It's like their logo's way too big,
It's huge. I saw that and I was like, is that Westpac? And that is the reason I haven't clicked buy yet.
No, I'm the same, because, I've got... the State of Origin jerseys used to have bugger all sponsorship on them. Like they'd have the small bit up on the sort of nipple.
Well, I got one 2 years ago. It's got Bryden's Lawyers giant plastered on the front. It looks stupid.
So, yeah, I'm worried. I agree with you. Haas is out. Queensland win.
Yeah. And not looking too good. But hey, join us for that commentary Wednesday night. Me and Ben Hurley, Sky Sports 6. Time now for everyone's favourite segment to finish off for today. It is Dai Henwood off the back fence.
Oh, a long kickoff. The offload to Henwood, and he's got the back fence. Boom time.
Area code 09. Where am I? Tamaki Makoto. Where's that? Where the Warriors play their home games. Look, I'm sick of the rest of New Zealand just with their tongues out trying to get a taste of industrial Penrose. Oh, bring the Warriors down here. Oh, we could come to McLean Park. Oh, go down to Wellington. Let's play Christchurch. Nah, stuff you. You come up to Auckland. You appreciate the mighty light rail that's being installed in 10 to 15 years. You come and enjoy our harbour bridge when it's not closed 5 times in one night because of a slight breeze and it looks a bit like a coat hanger. You come and check out our amazing new countdown just off Ponsonby Road. Got good under parking. Check that out. Come up here and check that out. Don't beg for a taste of Penrose down in your town. Don't beg for it. If you're going to take it anywhere, take it to Tokoroa. Take it to Tikawiti. Take them to somewhere that matters. These boys are getting all caught up, and they're getting caught up in the town being so stoked on them. They're not being at Mount Smart / Go Media Stadium in the gym, just doing the grind. They're getting too sucked in to the external noise. If a game is to be played anywhere else in Aotearoa, it should be a home game for the other side. Some of these other teams need to step up and say, we're bringing a home game and we're going to take it to Aotearoa and we're going to play it in Invercargill. We're going to play it in Christchurch. We're going to play it in Blenheim. No, definitely not Blenheim. We're going to play it in Wellington. I'll name other cities if I knew them. But
Hamilton.
No, so we've lost twice in Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, cool.
So we have played I believe, 28 games around New Zealand since the Warriors have been in the competition. We've lost 18 of them, and we've won 10 of them. That shows that the Warriors taking their home games around the country does not work for us. The only time we should travel is if it's the other team's home game. Kia ora.
Adam, can you clap as well so it doesn't sound like just me? Thanks, mate. I agree with that, 100%.
It does wind me up, and I think that this is the time for people to say thank you to New Zealand.
That's right.
By West, big ups to West. They actually donated their home game to us. They're the only people who did that.
Oh, the Australian Warriors, as I like to call
the
them.
Aussie Wars. But if another team went, hey, cool, we're going to go and take our game to Wellington because there's a high chance we'll win, looking at statistics. That's just what I think.
I massively agree. All we know is that this weekend it is a home game. They are at the Fruit Bowl, Mount Smart, and they're taking on the Dolphins. 5 o'clock Saturday night. You will have alternative commentary. Are you on that game?
No, I'm not on that game.
I think it's Ben Hurley and Mania Stewart.
Yes.
That's right. So do join us. We'll either be on Sky Sport 6 or Sky Sport 9, or if there's a rugby union game on, we'll be on Sky Sport 6. But 5 o'clock Saturday night, join us here on the ACC. From myself and Dai Henwood, we'll be back again tomorrow for a Supercoach Corner wrap. Well, I will be anyway, with Supercoach expert Adam Pormana. And otherwise, catch you Wednesday night for State of Origin.
Slater.
Australia without rugby league is not Australia.